Okay, we are recording. Hello everybody, DJ Bagpuss here and welcome to a little bit of a different video for you today. Now, the DJ Bagpuss show has ended. The entire season is available on my YouTube channel, and kind of a common question that I get frequently asked by you guys on Twitter and also people that actually kind of know me in real life is, how do I actually go about doing this? You know, what is the process of me sitting here talking to the camera and then you guys being able to see it on YouTube? And it's kind of a question that I haven't really answered in kind of lots of detail. Like, I've briefly spoken about it in small sections over the course of the series of the DJ Bagpuss show, but I haven't really gone into kind of extensive and kind of really, you know, analyse and give you a detailed breakdown of what goes into actually making YouTube videos. And I've got some time today, and by God, I'm gonna need it. So in this video, I'm gonna talk to you guys about what actually goes into making YouTube videos and kind of give you a detailed variation and kind of be really solid in giving you like analysis and evaluating what goes into each stage of making YouTube videos. Because as much as I like to bring you an episode of the DJ Bagpuss show every single day, you know, if you want to see season 2, you want to see me do a daily upload of it, it isn't actually possible. And by the end of this video, hopefully you will be able to just get a bit of a rough understanding of what actually goes into it, and kind of it isn't as easy, and there's a lot of stuff that actually go into it to actually get the DJ Bagpuss show onto YouTube. So, and hopefully also it kind of gives you guys a little bit of anyone out there that wants to start YouTube, a rough idea of what actually goes into each stage. Now, even though I've done lots of different videos, I'm going to kind of base this video about how I go about doing the DJ Bagpuss show, because there's kind of a signature formula that I follow that, you know, can really go into detail in each area. You know, it's not kind of one area is more detailed than the other. You know, it's equal amounts of what goes into recording, editing and uploading, and kind of the DJ Bagpuss show is my, you know, the series that launched this YouTube channel, and it is the most videos I've ever done. So I'm going to be using that as a basis to kind of tell you exactly what goes into each stage of making YouTube videos. And then at the end of the video, if you guys are still interested, then I will kind of, you know, tell you kind of all the kind of different videos that I do, but the formula is kind of the same for each. But firstly, let me give you a tour. So basically, I'm going to give you like a tour of kind of the campus and kind of both the rooms that I use to do YouTube videos. So firstly, this is the sequencing lab. Now, as you can see in there, I can't go in there because there's a lesson right now, but it's literally a whole room literally full of lots and lots of Macs. It's a very, very expensive room. Now, this is the place where I literally edit all of my videos, apart from I've done 2 or 3 in the room that we're about to go into in a couple of seconds, but kind of this has been the place where I've edited every single episode of the DJ Bagpuss show, and it's kind of been the room that I do most of my editing and spend the most amount of time doing editing, because all of my stuff is literally on that computer. Just if you go in to the left, that is where my station is. That is literally where I do all my editing for every episode. And yeah, it's a very expensive room. You probably can guess that it's in the thousands. It's just basically a classroom full of like Macs. There's lots and lots of Macs. So that is where I do my editing. We're going to go back to that room later on in the video. Let me now take you into this room. Now, this is the recording studio. So let's take you in. Welcome to my humble abode. Now, firstly, you'll know that there's 3 rooms. One there, one there, one there. And that door's there. So I'm going to quickly show you 2 of the rooms, and then we're going to go into this other room when I actually get into recording. Oh, echo, echo, echo. Right, so come and join me. Let's come into this room now. This is kind of the room that I refer to as the big room. I don't really know why I call it the big room. It's not really got a, you know, statutory name, but I just call it the big room because it's bigger than the room that we're about to go into that I do all my recording. So firstly, we have a Mac here. So that's the Mac right there. Obviously, lovely view. Focus me, there we go. Lovely view there. Chairs here, so what we do lessons there. This is basically just a massive, massive studio. This is basically the place where we record kind of bands. Oh, hello there. Yeah, we record loads of bands. And normally when we're doing any like gigs in this room, this is kind of the place. So the band will normally be in that room, which we're going to go into in just a couple of moments. And kind of we're here recording the band. And this computer over here is basically another Mac. But I did actually use this computer. This is relevant to episode 9 of the DJ Bagpuss Show, because episode 9 of the DJ Bagpuss Show was recorded right here. And because I had 3 of my mates on, Luke Bonner, Adam White and Christopher O'Bray, like, being in that room would have been kind of a little bit difficult, because there was quite, you know, a widespread to get everyone on camera. I needed to have like the diameter of the room kind of, you know, to be a bit more wide. So, and also because we played the FIFA soundtrack quiz, I needed to be on a computer. So it was really handy. I literally had the camera about here, and then I was literally here controlling the FIFA soundtrack quiz on this computer. So it kind of made, you know, sense to do it in this room, and it means that I could, you know, do whatever I needed to do on the computer while we played the game, you know, off shot, and you just see these lovely, you know, this lovely shot right about here. So that is kind of, this is the place where I recorded episode 9 of the DJ Bagpuss Show, but it's been the only episode in the series that I've actually recorded in this room. Finally, the kind of the biggest thing really in this room is this absolute monster of a machine. Now this basically is the big mixing desk. I remember when I came here for my induction with my parents, when my friends came into the studio for the first time, the first thing everyone ever says to me about this room, and probably Ben Gurney, who you saw in episode 3 of the DJ Bagpuss Show, he will back me up in saying this, that the first thing anyone ever says when they come into this room is, there's a lot of buttons. And there is, it actually isn't as scary as you may think. Kind of the big buttons that we use are these ones, the gain at the top, and it just kind of records like loads of bands. And kind of, if you want to do a good recording session, you can also link sound to this big mixing desk, which also you might think that rather than me getting the audio from the FIFA soundtrack quiz, like actually getting the audio and importing it into a project, I literally just used recording for this, because I kind of connected the computer to this speaker and turned it all the way up, so it actually was really good quality. This will make a lot more sense if you've actually seen episode 9 of the DJ Bagpuss Show, but you know, this actually produces very, very good sound. And the difference with this mixing desk to the one that you're going to see in this small room is that you don't actually have to connect a computer to use this desk. Like if you set up kind of bands and put microphones on the instruments that are in that room, then you can control them for this one. But obviously if you want to record it using a digital audio workstation, then you have to kind of, you know, connect it to that computer. But yeah, it's an absolute monster. There's a lot of buttons, and I've been using this during my college course. So let's go over now to this room. Now you'll be very familiar with this room, because this room is the place where I record 9 out of the 10 episodes of the DJ Bagpuss Show. Now it looks very different, because literally all you see on camera is this space over there, but there's a lot of stuff here, so it's quite messy right now. Bag, computer, we'll be addressing all of these when we do the recording, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here. You mainly see that shot over there, but yeah, this is kind of the small room, and as you can see there, the desk, that desk only works if it's connected to that computer. So it's kind of like, you know, with that one you can set up bands and microphones and that be able to be used, but this one only really works when you connect it to the computer. So there's a lot of stuff in this room, microphones over there, and it kind of leads me quite nicely on to recording. But before that, now timescale is something that I'm going to come on to next, just before we get into actually how I record the DJ Bagpuss Show. Now Fridays are always my recording day. I recorded every single episode on a Friday, so like Fridays are my recording day, and I try to get my uploads, especially of the DJ Bagpuss Show, out on a Friday. The episode 1 to 7 were uploaded on a Friday, but I think episode 8, 9 and 10, well, episode 8 was uploaded on a Wednesday, as was episode 9, and episode 10, the season finale, the most recent episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show, is going to be coming out. Well, I'm literally, the day of recording this setup video, I'm going to be uploading it hopefully today or tomorrow, if you know, a complication arises. So I always like to try and record on the Friday and then upload the following Friday. So as I've uploaded an episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show, you know, I can record the next episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show. And I kind of like getting into that formula and that routine, because, you know, it's like a major bit of advice I could give to you, like get into a routine and planning and preparing for any video that you're going to do kind of really helps you to have a much smoother and easier video generally. So that's kind of the time scale, recording on a Friday and hopefully try to, you know, upload the following Friday. Sometimes that doesn't really happen if you have a problem in editing, but normally I always record every single episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show has been recorded on Friday. And speaking of recording, we're going to get on to recording right now. So I come into the studio at around 9:30. I normally get into college at around 8:30 on the day of recording. It all depends if I'm uploading. Normally if I'm uploading the previous episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show, then I'll go and do that for an hour. So it normally takes about an hour to upload that onto YouTube. And then I'll come in at around about 9:30 to start actually recording the next episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show. And if I don't have to upload an episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show, then I come into the studio at 8:30 in the morning. So it's always an early start for me. Now I wanted to get some concrete data from you guys about how long you think it takes me to record an episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show. Without me actually giving anything away to you guys, I kind of wanted to get some, concrete data and get a correlation of how long you think it takes me to record an episode. So I put, from an upcoming video, how long do you think it takes me to record an episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show? And the ones were less than an hour, between 1 to 2 hours, between 3 to 4 hours, and more than 4 hours. So there was 0% on less than 1 hour, so none of you think it takes me less than an hour to record the DJ Bagpuss Show. I mean, I'm good, but I'm not that good. Between 1 to 2 hours got 25%, and between 3 to 4 hours also got 25%. But the winner, which got 50% of the vote, is more than 4 hours. So that was 50% of you think it takes me more than 4 hours to actually record an episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show. So bear that in mind, and you'll find out if I'm right after I talk about exactly what I do in terms of recording the DJ Bagpuss Show. So the biggest thing that you have to kind of compensate and take into consideration is that I record the DJ Bagpuss Show on 2 different formats basically. So I record the audio and the video separately. There is a microphone on the camera that I'm using right now, this is the camera that I use to record every episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show. But because we're in a studio and we have actually proper microphones, I use this microphone to record the DJ Bagpuss Show. But before I can do any of that, before setting any of this gear up, I have to learn about turning on the computer in a correct way. So this is the computer that I record the audio for the DJ Bagpuss Show. Now you're probably thinking, don't you just switch it on and then all is right with the world? No. There is kind of a strategy formula, and kind of, you have to turn it on in a certain way in order for it to be able to work. And I didn't really know this when I started doing YouTube, so as you can imagine, my first video, there were a few problems that I didn't really take into consideration. So the first thing I need to do is I need to turn on these 2 plugs here for this right speaker. So this right speaker this plug has to be turned on, and this is linked to the desk down there. So those 2 have got to be turned on, which they are now because I've already done this. And then that off button there, that has to be switched on. And then I have to go around to the other side of the room and do basically the same again to this speaker, turn on the plugs and the plug sockets, and then turn it on from here. So that off button then goes and switches to on. So both of these then are set up. I then have to switch on these 2 plugs here. That's for the computer and for the monitor. And this little bad boy, this is the computer. It's one of the most powerful computers in the world. Like, I kid you not. It's, people say big things come in small sizes. That is a small size, but there is a shed load of power on that one. Like, it literally is humongous, absolutely humongous. Before I actually turn it on, I have to ensure that the sound card is switched on, and this line box down here has to be switched on as well, and you'll understand that when I actually get to that point. The first episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show that I did, I set all of this gear up, and like 3 hours in and nothing was working. The simple reason is that the sound card wasn't switched on. So yeah, I've never ever done that again. I always remember to do that. But then the computer gets switched on and it brings you to this lovely desktop. So my next job is to actually get the equipment needed to record. So this is when we come over to this room, which is the only room that I have yet to show you. Echo! So this is our equipment room. This is where we record bands. I was saying to you when I was showing you in that big room, this is the place where bands come to basically, with their instruments, and we record their instruments, normally in this small live room. But ignore that, because we don't need any of that. There are only 3 things we really need. Firstly, we need headphones, and these headphones basically kind of allow me to hear myself back in my ears during recording, because that really does help. That kind of ensures that my brain is telling me that everything is recording properly. If I can hear myself, it means it's recorded well, and it just also means hearing yourself back while you're speaking, particularly when you're doing a podcast. Like right now, I can't hear myself back. Only the natural be able for your ears to hear you back while you're actually speaking. But like during a podcast and when you're speaking for about an hour and a half, it kind of really helps you to hear. So headphones are absolutely vital. This is an XLR. This connects the microphone to the computer. So this is absolutely vital. We need one of these in order for the microphone to actually work. And last but by no means least, we need a microphone stand, obviously, to hold the microphone in place. So that is literally the 3 things. I already set those up, but those are kind of the 3 pieces of equipment, and this is basically the final room. This is basically our live room in the studio. So now we go back on and over here, and this is where I start to set things up. So my first job is to set up the microphone stand. As you see, it's basically a standard microphone stand, and then it basically has a rest, and that means that connects to that. So that basically connects to the bottom of that, and then you can put the microphone in. And then this microphone is a Behringer. It's a B2 Pro. I don't really know the exact name. I'll put like a text down there. I mean, I do music technology, so I really should know the name of this, but it's a really, really good microphone. It's really well. It does great feeds. It kind of, if you're going to do vocals, this is a perfect mic, because it's a condenser, and it does a really good job. Or is it a condenser or a dynamic? See, I really should know that as well. But basically, it does the job that I need it to do. It records my voice, and actually records my voice rather well. So that is the microphone, and then the XLR goes from that microphone into this line box down there. Now, you might be thinking that is all you need to do, like you connect the microphone from that into that, and then all's right with the world. Well, not really, because the computer doesn't just, it can't register the signal from the microphone to the line box, and it doesn't just register that signal just by that, like it really doesn't. So this is where the sound card and the auxiliary goes into. So this sound card has to be turned on. It tells the computer that there is a signal, and then also there's a digital audio workstation that I use to actually record the audio, but it kind of makes sense once I explain this first. So that sound card registers that signal. So signal from the microphone into the line box. Sound card registers that sound, but it kind of needs basically like, the best way to describe this, it basically needs like a kick, like an oomph, like it needs like some of these best example I'm looking for. So basically when you're running on the machine and the machine's like a little bit faulty and starts to break, and then you just give it an oomph of power, and then it starts up. This is basically what the microphone needs, because the signal is kind of weak going from that into the line box, but the signal is weak just by the sound card. So it finally needs to connect by this. Now this is an auxiliary cable. Now this basically is the final piece of the puzzle. So basically if you think of it like a round kind of flow chart: microphone, line box, sound card, auxiliary, and there's one final stage, but this auxiliary connects everything together and then finally tells the computer, oh yes, we've got a signal, now you can go onto the digital audio workstation and your signal will be there. It always has to go into the start of the second line, because the lines are in blocks of 2, and the start of the third line in blocks of 2. I'm trying to not be as technical as possible, because no one really cares about technical, but basically I just need to ensure that that is connected to that, connected to that, and then connected to that. And then last is actually controlling the sound using this mixing desk. Now I will show you, if we go on to my demo Logic project, I use Logic Pro X to record audio, like all audio and also editing audio, I use Logic Pro X. It is a beautiful digital workstation. It does so many great things. It manipulates handles, records, edits audio, and does it all in just a brilliant way. I mean, it is like 250 quid if you want to use this, but it does the job superbly well, and you'll see that actually when I get to editing there. So let's unmute, because I've unmuted this audio. So as you can see here, you see that signal right there. Let me try and go in further. You see that signal? There's obviously going to be a little bit of a buzz because obviously it's plugged in and I'm talking, but that kind of registers that there is signal. Now the last thing I've got to do is to make sure that the source, this source right here, this has got to be on microphone. This has got to be microphone, and this has to be on, so it has to have kind of the voltage right now. It has to have that to be able to work, and I can control it literally by turning it up, which don't do that, that's a very bad sound. But obviously the louder it is, the more signal that you get, and kind of this is Logic kind of understanding that everything is working and it's nicely in balance. So it's literally just these 5 stages of microphone, line box, sound card, auxiliary, and then finally ensuring that you've got the mic there, and it's also got power there as well. You need to have that turned on to be able for it to record. So if I turn that off, test, there's nothing there. If I then turn it back on, test 1 2 1 2 1 2. Oh, don't die on me now. Let me turn up a bit. Test 1 2. Behave. See, this is kind of the things that actually can happen while you're actually recording. Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2. Oh, this is great. Let's do that. Test 1 2. So as you can see, I'll turn up a bit more. Test 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So as you can see, it's working, and kind of stuff like that actually happens. Even when I'm showing you this setup, stuff goes wrong. Sometimes that microphone just dies, like literally just dies on itself. So yeah, like that is literally kind of setting up the computer, and the audio is basically there. Test 1 2 1 2. Hello. So it's working. Everything is all right with the world, and I basically are in a position now where I do final checks, final levels, and then we can start recording. So next job is to set up the video, the visuals. Now this is a Sony Canon HD. It literally is the sun in my stars. It is a beautiful camera, top of the range. You really can't get a much better camera than this, and literally has a standard tripod that I set up and then put the camera on the tripod, and literally then we are basically nearly in the position where we can start recording. Now I'm using this camera right now to record this video, so it says in the, if you see there on the camera, focus, if you can see there the memory, so we've got an hour of recording space left. Literally only one episode, which was the season finale of the DJ Bagpuss show, literally my camera ran out of recording space, and in 10 episodes that was the only time that ever happened. So you see in the season finale, I look forward because a warning sign came up that memory is low, camera's going to die, and I was like, oh no, this can't happen, particularly not in the season finale. So literally just standard camera, tripod, and then it is put onto this space. So this is where I do the recording, microphone, and it just captures that. Now there is a built-in microphone on the camera, but I use the audio from the microphone, so this is literally just to record the visuals, and it does a very decent job. So now we are in a position where we can start actually recording the episodes. We've checked all the levels, we've set up the camera, we've done a test run just to make sure that it's recording, all the space is there. That is now, we are in a good position to start recording the episode. And as you probably can guess, talking for an hour and a half is sometimes not an easy thing to do, particularly if I decide to basically not be a human being and actually not speak proper English. Now, as I said in the season finale, normally when I get past 10 minutes, and if I do, have a little bit of a fluff, then I'll just laugh it off and carry on. But there's been a couple of moments where I've been sitting there, like, doing the introduction and fluffing, and it is the most annoying thing in the world. As you probably can see, this is literally me as I'm literally about to record and then actually starting the recording. So, yeah, this is a little bit annoying. This is probably the most annoying part of when you're actually recording a video. Right, I've got water, I've got my piece of paper to tell me points during the episode. So chair good, chair is fine. Then we have a little bit of a drink. Okay, turn the camera on. Water stay. Turn the camera on. Okay, we are recording. Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to the Bagpuss DJ. Okay, recording we are. Okay, we are recording. Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to the DJ Bagpuss Show, episode 4. Damn. Okay everybody, we are recording. Welcome to episode 5 of the DJ Bagpuss Show. And today we're going to be talking all about video games. So as you can see there, literally, Michael, I forgot to mute the microphone, that's probably why. So yeah, literally a couple of moments we fluff, but then once we get into it and past the 10 minute, and I very rarely fluff, like, as bad as that. That was literally just a couple of examples in all 10 episodes. I've had like 5 or 4 episodes which I haven't done on the first take, so 6 we've done on the first take, and then 4 others we haven't done. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying that, but now we're in a position to record, and I then hit record and the video is recorded. So this is part 2 of the DJ Bagpuss Show, and I have my first guest. This is we are recording. Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to episode. Okay. So the recording session is done, everything has been nicely achieved and all of that kind of good stuff. And yeah, so kind of the recording session goes well, and now I'm in a position where I pack everything down. So I pack the camera away, pack the microphone away, get everything out and clean up the studio before I then finally do the final thing I do just before I start editing. But before that, so the last thing I have to do once I've packed everything away is compress the digital audio workstation project that recorded my audio and send it to my OneDrive, and we'll just be able to edit it. But this is literally the raw footage, so this is episode 10 of the DJ Bagpuss Show. This is the season finale, and this is literally how it sounds, literally with just audio on it. So we play it. So this is it. This is the last episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show. Wow, this suddenly feels very, very emotional. So yeah, literally it's just raw audio that I've recorded on the microphone, and this is the entire podcast. So this podcast comes in at, I believe it's 1 hour 24, 1 hour 21. It's really confusing because of Logic it says it's 2 hours when it starts like the first 60 minutes is the first hour and then the second 60 minutes is the second, but it's actually 1 hour 21. But yeah, that's literally just the raw audio footage, and that is kind of what records from the microphone. So this is kind of the project that records the audio. This is linked to the microphone, to the line desk, to the sound card, to the auxiliaries, and then to this mixing desk, and that input goes into this project and allows me to actually record the audio. So let me quickly save that, and then the final thing I've got to do before I can actually start editing is compress that audio file. So go on to episode 10. I literally just compress that whole folder. I'll do it for you now because I can just basically do it again. So it compresses every single item. So it's literally just a zip file that I literally, when I go onto the other computer, I can load up and then save onto my system. So as you can see there, it compresses 101 items. It just firstly makes the file really small so I can upload it onto my OneDrive. And finally, basically means I can just take that piece of audio onto the other computer because I don't edit on this computer. I think I've only edited my 1,000 views video and the first episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show in this room, but every single other video that I've done kind of always goes into, like I always do on the other computer. So that is literally recording done. So taking into all account, you know, the setting up, you know, turning on the computer, setting up the audio, you know, the microphone connected into the computer, then testing levels on Logic and actually recording the entire episode, finally then packing everything down and sending the audio onto OneDrive so I can use it for editing. All of that roughly takes around between 2 to 3 hours actually. So you guys said it was more than 4 hours, and the first episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show took me 5 hours to record, but normally now I can do it in around about 2 to 3 hours. It kind of depends on if any problems come up. So if I have a dodgy cable or the microphone decides to just die on me, or if I have trouble setting up the camera, you know, it's kind of all of those factors that can take a recording of the DJ Bagpuss Show from 2 hours to kind of, you know, getting on to 3.5 hours. But normally it takes no more than 3.5 hours recently. Like I come in at 9:30 and normally by 12:30 I'm done, like, you know, and that is if I have a couple of problems. But I think the latest I started recording at 9:30. This is excluding the first episode of the DJ Bagpuss Show, and I finished at 1. So like that was getting close to 4 hours. But usually it's kind of, I start recording, like setting everything up at 9:30. Normally start recording at around about 10, and we're normally out of here by 12:30. So yeah, between 2 to 3 hours, no more than 4 hours. So you guys thought it took a little bit longer than it actually does. But again, you know, the times vary depending on what actually happens. But now we're at a stage where we can actually start to edit the videos. So come and join me as we get into the editing phase.